You spent your life seeking shelter, security, understanding, peace, but all he found was restraint, castration, silence. They said that being calm is being strong, that giving in is being wise, that avoiding conflict is a sign of maturity. They lied to you. This peace that you have learned to idolize is a cage. This harmony you pursue is a psychological bondage. You are not weak for feeling angry. You are weak for having learned to hide it. Nietzsche did not come into the world to console the fragile. He came to tear the false ground from beneath your feet. He doesn't offer you shelter. He offers you a mirror, where you see the monster they tried to kill inside you. And it is this monster that you need to free. Because while you run away from the chaos, others use it to dominate you. While you hide from the storm, someone created it to bend you. Nietzsche wrote, "You have to have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." But you buried this chaos. He called it maturing. Now everything about you is gray. Everything is calculation. Everything is fear. The time has come to stop running away. The time has come to stop protecting yourself. The time has come to be the storm. They taught you from an early age, seek shelter, avoid the risk, don't cause trouble. And you obeyed. It molded itself to fit. He silenced himself to please. He hid to survive. But what you don't realize is that this shelter doesn't protect you. It weakens you, because every shelter has a price, your will. Every time you retreat to keep the peace, someone advances on you. Every time you avoid confrontation, someone dominates the territory of your mind. Every time you swallow your anger, it doesn't go away. It turns into illness. Nietzsche knew this. He saw the world as a silent war of forces, and there are only two sides, the one who imposes and the one who submits. When you seek security, you are telling the world, "I accept being controlled as long as they leave me alone." But the world doesn't want to leave you alone. The world wants your soul. He wants your docility. He wants his neutrality anesthetized. And the shelter they offer you, it's the same place where they bury their power. They offer you comfort while taking away your courage. They give you stability while draining your individuality. You start to think everything is fine, that this internal emptiness is just tiredness, that this anguish is just part of adult life. But it's not. It's the suffocated scream of your true nature, trying to break through the walls of the shelter. You were not born to be protected. You were born to be dangerous. Nietzsche would never call a man who seeks peace at any cost strong. He would call someone strong who stares into the abyss and doesn't look away. Shelter is not security. It's domestication. It's where lions are killed and lambs are raised. And the cruelest of all, you are grateful. You call it emotional stability, call it maturity, call it being rational, but it is cowardice disguised as wisdom. It's escape disguised as balance. If this is making sense, continue. They don't scream, don't knock on the table, they don't threaten, but they are controlling you all the time, with silences, with emotional blackmail, with the weight of guilt carefully placed on your shoulders. The weak do not impose themselves with force. They manipulate with weakness. They make you feel like you are cruel for saying no. Who is selfish for prioritizing himself, which is toxic for defending yourself. They don't want you to be aggressive. They want you to be predictable, understanding, controllable, because a man who feels too much is easier to bend. And a man who thinks too much before acting has already lost. Nietzsche would call this slave morality, a psychological system created by the weak to protect your own fears, while they convince the strong to castrate themselves. They say, be kind, but what they mean is, be harmless. They say, be patient, but what they want is time to keep using you. They hide behind virtues because they can't stand the raw truth of life. The world is conflict. The world is dispute. The world is the will to power in action, and those who lack strength learn to disguise their cowardice as kindness. You've seen this, you've felt it. People who seem fragile but suck your energy like parasites, who say they're hurt, but they were controlling you, who say they're disappointed, but they were testing you, who say they want good, but only wanted your surrender, and you give in because he wants to be fair, because he wants to be good, because you don't want to appear insensitive. But Nietzsche asks, who said that to be good is to be weak? Who said being fair means accepting being exploited? The kindness that expects your submission is not kindness, it's poison. And the weak who demand your compassion are imprisoning you with silent screams. You don't need to hurt anyone, but you do need to stop bending over. You need to stop serving those who feed on your guilt, because if you don't, the next step is self-annihilation, the inner chaos. And that's what we're going to talk about now. Continue. You thought the problem was out, which were the people, the situations, the pressures, but chaos was already inside. You were just trying to keep it down. Each time he silenced his anger, each time he swallowed his frustration, every time he did what he didn't want to do to maintain appearance. Something in you has died, and something was building up in the dark, deep in his soul. Nietzsche said that modern man carries a resentment that he does not even understand, because he lives divided. He wants to scream, but he smiles. I want to say no, but I accept it. Wants to disappear, but posts selfies. This inner chaos arises from the conflict between what you are and what you learned you should be. You have been conditioned to avoid external confrontation, but no one told you that this would lead to an internal confrontation. You have become your own executioner. He punished himself for feeling angry. He judged himself for not being zen anymore. He blamed himself for not being satisfied. But how could it be? You are living against your own nature. Nietzsche believed that human beings need to express their will to power, or it turns against themselves. And that's what's happening to you. You started to destroy yourself, sabotage yourself, paralyze yourself, not because he's weak, but because he tried to be someone he never was. This chaos inside you is not a mistake, it's a sign. It's what's left of your power screaming to be released. But if you keep trying to cure this with more conformity, more passive meditation, more ready-made self-help phrases, you will lose the little that still makes you alive. It's not about exploding, but it's not about remaining anesthetized either. It's about facing this chaos, to accept it, transmute it. Nietzsche didn't want you to deny your dark side. He wanted you to dominate him. That integrated it, make him your strength. And that starts with a radical act. Tear the mask of peace. Are you ready? So continue. The peace they sold you is a lie. It's not peace, it's numbness. It is an induced, manufactured, domesticated state. You have learned to associate peace with the absence of conflict, with stability, with predictability. But Nietzsche knew, where there is no conflict, there is no growth. Where everything is harmony, everything is dead. You wear the mask of peace every day. Pretend balance, pretend control, pretend not to care. But inside, everything is at war. And you feel it in your silences, in your compulsive thoughts, in that anguish that you can't explain. You don't need more peace of mind. You need intensity, true peace. The one that Nietzsche would respect is not the one that avoids war. It's the one that survives after her. It is the one that is born when you are no longer afraid of losing. When you are no longer afraid of being hated, of being rejected, of being misunderstood. The man who achieves this peace is dangerous, because he no longer begs for acceptance. He no longer lives like an emotional beggar. It does not depend on anyone's approval. He can look destruction in the eye and smile. This is the peace of the warrior, not the slaves. This is why you need to tear off that mask. Because as long as you artificially keep yourself at peace, you will be held by others. By systems, for fears that aren't even yours. They want you calm, because the chaos in you threatens them, because its intensity destabilizes them. And then they give you labels. You are very intense. You need to control yourself. You are exaggerating. They don't want your good. They want your containment, and you believed. But Nietzsche looks down on you with contempt, because he knew the man who lives pretending to be peaceful is a coward afraid of his own strength. It's time to stop playing dead, to stop being convenient, to stop seeking neutrality in a world that devours you. Peace, yes, but a peace won with blood, truly, with self-affirmation. The peace that comes after destroying everything that was false in you. It's time to set fire. It's time to become what you've tried to control your entire life. It's time to be the fire. Continue. You erased everything that burned inside you. And now, there's only ash left. Grey in the eyes which no longer shine. Grey in the words which no longer cut it. Grey in the soul which no longer pulses. But Nietzsche did not write to ashes. He wrote for flames. For those who still dare to burn. You don't need to be understood. You need to be feared. You don't need to adapt. You need to set it on fire. Mediocrity wants you to erase yourself. It wants you to become predictable, acceptable, harmless. Because a man on fire, a man in a raw state of intensity, destabilizes everything around him. Nietzsche called this transvaluation. Destroy inherited values. Subvert the moralism of the weak. Rewrite your own existence with the ink of blood and will. But that requires fire. There is no Superman born without fire, and you have been living like wet coal, off inside, wet with excuses, stuck in ready-made phrases, in I can't, in I shouldn't. But look around. This world is not being shaped by erased men. It is being shaped by those who impose it, for those who transform, for those who set the structure on fire and dance in the ashes. And you were taught to ask permission to even exist. They convinced you that causing discomfort is wrong. But Nietzsche says, the serpent that cannot shed its skin dies. The same happens with minds that are prevented from changing their opinions. They cease to be minds. Changing your skin requires a burn. It demands rupture. It demands destruction of the old. You're trying to be reborn without dying first. Trying to evolve without losing what keeps you stuck. Trying to free yourself without offending anyone. It won't happen. Or do you burn down everything that is false in you? Or you will continue to breathe ash and call it air. Society wants you to adapt. Nietzsche wants your transgression. You choose, be the spark that starts the collapse, or the dust that silently watches the world fall apart. If something in you still pulses, it still vibrates, it still demands more. It's time to stop erasing yourself. It's time to be the fire. Continue. Have you noticed? Anyone who exposes themselves truthfully scares. Anyone who says what they think bothers them. Anyone who refuses to bow down is called arrogant, insensitive, problematic. But the truth is simple. True power cannot be hidden. It imposes itself by the simple fact of existing. Nietzsche understood this better than anyone. For him, greatness was not a matter of morals, but of vital force, intensity, presence. And that's why you suffer, because you're trying to live in the world without actually being present in it. You ask permission to be. Ask for permission to exist. You are afraid of displeasing, of shocking, of breaking up. But those who have real power don't apologize for being what they are. He enters in silence, and the atmosphere changes. He speaks little, and everyone listens. He doesn't need to prove anything, because his simple firmness is unbearable for domesticated people. The world is full of people trying to appear strong, but Nietzsche wanted you to be strong, and strength begins when you stop hiding, when you stop explaining yourself, when you just are. Most men live like shadows. They act according to what is expected of them. They speak with filters. They smile guiltily, but you feel it inside. There's something more raw, more sincere, more uncontrollable, trying to get out. This is your core. That is your power. Nietzsche said that the Superman is the one who created his own values. And to do that, he needed to destroy everything that came from outside, including the need for acceptance, including the desire to be understood, including the fear of being hated. Those who don't hide, face it. Whoever faces it, transforms. Whoever transforms, bothers. And the discomfort you cause is the exact measure of your strength. That's why they want you to shut up. That's why they mock you. That's why they try to ridicule you, because they don't know how to deal with someone who doesn't bend. But you must no longer bend. You must grow, to appear, become visible, and impossible to ignore. You were once too small, too silent, too patient. Now it's time to be intolerable to the weak. It's time to stop asking for permission to exist. It's time to become storm, continue. There comes a time when the shelter collapses, not because someone destroyed it from the outside, but because you set it on fire inside. What protected you now suffocates you. What calmed you now paralyzes you. Or what defined you, now it makes you angry. This is the breaking point, the moment you stop trying to fix the shell and decides to break up for good. Nietzsche called this transfiguration. The moment the common man dies and gives way to the inevitable man, the Superman. But this birth is not peaceful, it is not illuminated, it's not clean. It comes with pain, with denial, with brutal loneliness, because the storm you've suppressed for years now demands to be released, and you can no longer pretend that you are normal. You can no longer hide behind comfortable concepts. You can no longer remain silent in the face of everything that diminishes you. The storm is not the end. It's the beginning. It is fury that destroys the old self. It is the thunder that tears the sky of apathy. It is the wind that sweeps away the accumulated weakness. And the world is not ready for this. They'll call you crazy, of unbalanced, arrogant. But behind the accusation there is panic, because a man who doesn't need shelter, it is uncontrollable. He doesn't protect himself. He asserts himself. He doesn't hide. He shines a light on what others prefer to keep in the shadows. He is chaos in human form, but conscious chaos, addressed, chosen. Nietzsche would say, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." But the deeper truth is something else. What doesn't destroy me, I destroy. This is the man who becomes a storm. He is not afraid of confrontation. He is the confrontation. It doesn't avoid chaos. He is chaos channeled into direction, into vision, into will. Are you ready? Because after that there is no going back. The shelter collapsed. The mask fell. The fire lit. Now, all that's left is to walk under the thunder. You no longer need to be understood, not loved. I don't even accept it. You need to be real. And its reality is not made of concessions, nor of silence, nor of diplomacy. It is made of will, intensity, of storm. What Nietzsche offered you throughout his entire work was not comfort. It was a challenge. He didn't want to calm you down. I wanted to tease you, undress you, exposing you to the abyss, so you could finally see yourself, not like the boy trained to please, but like the man who chooses to be indomitable. You were not made to protect yourself. It was made to crash, to break, to set fire. Today's world is desperate for controllable men, for passive souls, by tamed minds. But Nietzsche whispers something different in his ear. Be the lightning that cuts through the darkness of the mass. Don't conform. Don't settle. Don't turn off. Because when you turn off, the system wins, the weak win, the manipulators win. But when you get up, when you own your chaos, when you refuse to hide, you become dangerous, magnetic, book. The storm doesn't ask for permission. She comes, she destroys, and after that, nothing stays the same. If this touched you, write in the comments, I refuse to be controlled. And if there's still fire left in you, don't stop here. The next video is essential. Click now. Continue your transformation.